pero vamos a conocer qué subsectores dentro del tecnológico tenemos que fijarnos en este año entrante. Hello, Alison Porter, from GHH Global Technology Leaders. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on.
First of all, which technological areas will have the highest economic potential in this year, in this 2025, and what factors drive their appeal for investors?
So it's very difficult to say on a one-year basis, but I think, these generative AI is a compute wave, and they generally tend to take about 10 years to play out. When you think about the prior compute wave of mobile compute, the iPhone was launched in 2007, but it wasn't until 2019 that we saw the Uber IPO as an application. So we think that it's going to take quite some time. So we're going to see continued investment in the infrastructure behind AI. But we think there are some key areas that are ripe for innovation and disruption. Technology, healthcare, and transportation being two of them. Healthcare is an area that we expect to see accelerated innovation, from drug discovery to personalized medicine to robotic surgery, that can help not just save governments money, but also help us live longer, healthier lives. And transportation is an area that we also expect to see significant advances towards autonomous driving through 2025 to 2028.
Okay, and then how are emerging innovations like generative AI or quantum computing and sustainable technologies reshaping the industrial landscape?
So the ability of generative AI and quantum compute really to reshape the industrial landscape is very much determined by their affordability. So it's how effective they are, not just in terms of power, but the price becoming available and the power requirements. That's where the sustainable part comes in. So, generative AI feels like it's already shaping outcomes, because we hit that important inflection point at the end of 2022 when the price of accelerated compute really came down with NVIDIA's H100 chip. So I think, in focusing on reshaping the industrial landscape, we'll focus on the building blocks of infrastructure, and a lot of that will be done in the cloud, so expanded hyperscale cloud infrastructure. Amazon just a few weeks ago announced its Quantum Embark program, which really allows lots of small, medium-sized businesses, industrial businesses, to access quantum hardware on a pay-as-you-go, on a rental basis as well, which can help to accelerate adoption. I would think about, separately, both digital adoption that can shape the industrial world, for construction, digital twinning, for example, design manufacturing. But then there's the physical AI aspect. So that's more the robotics, actually moving physical goods, which will take longer till it becomes more affordable and cost competitive with labour.
And Alison, what specific developments in artificial intelligence are likely to create the greatest shifts in productivity and economic profitability next year?
Well, I think most of those shifts, I mentioned healthcare earlier. I think we can see some really significant, that's an area where we need to make significant cost savings. Demographics show that we're all living longer, so the pressures on our social security systems, the pressures on our healthcare systems are growing, and from being able to improve imaging to make that more effective and more accurate is really important. And as we shift towards, transportation is an area where humans tend not to be very intelligent, and artificial intelligence can be applied, because in transportation, in auto accidents are one of the leading killers of people under the age of 30. So driving safer outcomes, not just with autonomous driving, but with, you know, additional safety features in cars that can address areas like distractions and speeding through software and generative AI are going to be some major productivity drivers and safety drivers for society in the coming years.
Will the results of the US election, of Trump's victory, will be the impact in regulatory policies and technological investment strategies this next year?
Yeah, we're seeing some very interesting appointments from the world of business. Actually, just today, we saw, you know, a leading fintech company, Pfizer, the CEO, being tapped by Donald Trump to be the Commissioner of Social Security, for example. And we also have Elon Musk, you know, taking over from the Department of Efficiency, government efficiency as well. And I think technology is really going to continue to be a national priority, and that's in terms of both domestic manufacturing and finding technology solutions to productivity gains within government. And there's been a lot of discussion around deregulation in areas like autonomous driving, where they're aiming to provide some kind of federal law, not just being driven by state, and then potentially more openness in M&A in future years, which really hasn't been open to technology companies in the last few years. So I think those are some of the changes that we can expect.
And how does the economical and technological rivalry, this commercial war between the United States and China, can influence the sector's investment and development priorities?
You know, I just mentioned that focus on domestic manufacturing, you know, which is really about jobs and protectionism. But it also just really feeds this rivalry that you mentioned between both US and China as superpowers. Demographics and productivity needs are a huge factor for China with its aging population, and it really has to be focused on productivity tools, and AI has the potential to really address that shift, that cost differential between capital, robotics and labour. So China is very focused on it, and we think the US will continue to be very focused on driving manufacturing in the US, and not just for productivity reasons, but for jobs and protectionism, and also for military and data security reasons, which also involves energy security. Yeah, as we digitize, you know, there are more cybersecurity risks, and having the best AI keeps nations safe. And when we've heard Donald Trump talk also about Alphabet and the regulatory challenges that it has, he also made a nod to the fact that, you know, he wants a fair resolution there, but also to protect companies that have leadership in AI because of their competitive edge against China. So, you know, between demographics, jobs, protectionism, military superiority, data security, we think that technology is going to continue to be a national priority for both the US and for China, and it will allow the technology sector very much to continue to gain share of the global economy and very much gain share of global markets as well.
Alison Porter, thank you very much, Portfolio Manager of Janus Henderson Global Technology Leaders. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.